Hey guys, and welcome back to In Ear Space's YouTube channel. Today we're going to do a shorter video, just looking at one product. And the product of choice today, to get a in-depth look at and a review of, is Westone's latest and greatest, their new universal fit flagship, the Signature Series W80. This is the Cartwright brothers who designed the IEMs over at Westone. Most expensive earphone to date, and it's also the one that they've chosen to spearhead their lineup of the W series, which, for those who don't know, Westone have a different series for different applications. So if you're a professional musician, you want a stage monitor, they have the custom ES series and the universal UM series. Give a sound signature you would want. I think mid-forward, the UM30 always was when I tried that. And then the W series, which is just universal fit, tends to be a little bit more consumer orientated, a little bit more bass, a little bit more laid back in the mids. And they've said they've really chased just a super musical sound signature with the W80. Now, before we get started and open it up, we're just going to go for a few things. The 80 in the name comes from the 8 balanced armature drivers it uses per channel. And the cost is $1,499 US. And it should be, I think, £1,200, but I have found it from advanced MP3 players for just $1,078. Regardless of the pricing, it is very expensive. Much in the upper echelon of pricing for a universal fit. I know with the 64 Audio Tier Forte we're going like to $3,800. A Bravo's universals are getting very expensive. I think they're sort of in their own little league still, and this is very much the top tier of pricing in universal fit earphones today. Starting with how the earphone impressed me physically, I loved the packaging, I loved the entire experience of getting it out of the box. We have this rather big box, we've got some information on the back, we've got a frequency response curve, but I don't think that's going to be too accurate if I'm honest. It looks heavily smoothed, and I'm sure Heather made it in their favour as much as possible, but yeah, to be precise, you can't learn anything from that. Opening it up, we've got that hint of orange coming through, and we have a quote from the Cartwright brothers as well as one of their signatures. The quality of the sound is the most important consideration. Without that, first priority met, no other consideration is relevant. So they're saying that everything about this earphone has been about the sound quality, and then the rest is sort of something they've worked on after. So, but it's irrelevant without great sound quality. And I think I agree completely with that, and I think that's what a lot of other companies need to think about when making earphones, instead of just worrying about how many drivers they've got or how expensive it is and how they can fool people. I agree with that statement, but will come into play when I talk about the sound later, if they actually stood by their own mottos. And then we've got some, well, with the Westone family information with a lot of different languages. And then we've got this big Westone case. And I like this. I think some people were expecting to take more fancy, like leather or you know, some premium materials, but it's just this simple sort of like hard clamshell case, rugged, with a big zip on it. It's sort of like a CD case or something. It's nothing fancy to look at, but it's a very, very usable case. Once we open it up, I'll look inside. There's 3 sections behind this elastic, but you can see it. So you can hold some stuff in there. You've got a divider in the middle to separate what you have on this side and the other side. You have a little Westone cleaning cloth, I have no problem with. And then the earphones did come in this earphone cutout that's Velcro down. I'd say once you've unboxed them, you'll probably be getting rid of this and just using this case for its usability. But it has a smaller case inside, which is great. It is your more pocketable case, your more standard case. 2 Velcro dividers. So at the moment they're just separating where the earphones were and the case was, but you can do all sorts with these. For example, you could do one long ways, So you could put a pair of earphones there, a pair of earphones there, and a small adapt there. In the cases, I like the included accessories. We have their own patented Star Fit tips and True Fit tips. They're both like, they're longer in length, sort of triple flange in length, but they're just a single flange. And they come in silicone, which is their Star Fit, and foam, which is the True Fit. They're great quality tips, very well made, very comfortable, and they sound great, especially on the Westone models and other models. So that's nice, and you get a screwdriver because they have changeable face plates, and you have an ear cleaning tool in there. Then you have the changeable face plates. I'm not a fan of these. I think you could see it as quite cool on the cheaper models, you know, £200. You can change the face plates on the Westone W10 and W20, or even a 250 quid W40. But when you're paying £1,200, I want something luxury, not something that I'm screwdrivering a pair of plastic face plates from silver to grey or from red to blue. Just find it a little bit tacky, if I'm honest. Again, that's just my opinion. We have two included cables, and Westone have been including two different types of cables for a while, but they're normally the same cable, just one has the MFI sort of remote mic module on it. So this one, this is their standard Westone cable with MMCX connectors, and it has a 3-button remote mic on it, so you can take calls and stuff. That's nice if you want to use it with your phone, which I don't. So if you don't want to use it with your phone, that's when you're going to have the other cable included. Westone have teamed up with Kemble and Halo. RX amplifier I still use on a daily basis. Make some really high quality products. Include this cable. Stock is a $300 option on its own if you buy it from Halo's store. It's called the Reference 8 cable. This is the Westone edition. I don't know what they've done differently for that. But it's basically it's an 8 braid cable. Four of them strands are silver plated copper, 4 are OCC copper. It looks lovely, as you can see when I take the earphones out here. It's an absolutely gorgeous cable. It seems sturdy. It's got a nice Halo branded termination on it. It's got some memory wire at the top. I will say I found it very microphonic. That was the biggest drawback of it for me. But beyond that, it made an obvious and significant difference to the sound. One that was better than my other aftermarket cables, and for MMCX obviously, and definitely one that was better than Westone's own cable. So it's nice that you're getting this immediate increase in sound quality out of the box. It's also great because it will quash some cable believers, because they'll be like, oh, let's give it a try. I've got, you know, might as well because I've got this better cable in the box, and they'll try it and they'll be like, oh, cables do make a difference. So that's cool for that option as well. And I'm 100% behind earphone companies including a better cable with their high-end IEMs. Something that was really maddening about these earphones is the size. They actually made a slightly new shell for the W80, made some slight adjustments to the shell, and apparently it's slightly smaller. I mean slightly smaller. That's one of the more incredible feats they've accomplished with this earphone, and that's cramming 8 drivers into this tiny little shell, because it's crazy small. It's smaller than the in-ear Profile 8 by a margin, smaller than the NG Audio Capricorn, the Campfire Andromeda with its 5 drivers. It's a tiny little earphone, and that leaves it being very, very comfortable in the ear, very ergonomic. Build quality I'm a little bit sadder about. It's an all plastic affair. There's nothing premium to sort of feel about it, like the small thin sound nozzles that used to get on Shure. I much prefer the thicker ones you're generally getting today, because they just feel sturdier, especially with earphones that are even acrylic shelled but have a metal soundbar. That's great because it's just that little bit extra protective, and I think it also contributes to the sound a little bit as well. Let's talk about the sound. I know that they've used an 8 balanced armatures channel, like I've said, and they are custom proprietary made by a balanced armature company, but for Westone. So Westone aren't making their own drivers made, so none of their earphone companies will be using these drive units, which is quite cool. They're obviously designed to their specs. They got what they were after. That was the most disappointing factor. Not because it's bad. It's not like you put these in, you're like, oh, these are straight up crap. They're not crap earphones. They're They're decent earphones. There's no two ways about that. They're just not over £1,000 worth of earphones. And that's the bit that sort of left me let down the most, because something needs to be amazing at this sort of price. I think that's what companies are missing there. They're up in the price, they're up in the drivers, they're claiming some new groundbreaking technology when most of the time it really isn't. It's something that's been done before, and yeah, it just doesn't warrant the price. I mean, the truth of it is I was comparing these to the $400 EchoBox Nomad, which we unboxed in the last video. They're a single dynamic driver, a peak driver, and they were going toe to toe. They had better sub-bass extension, they had better treble extension, they had more clarity in the mids. That's not to say that this didn't have better layering in the mid-range, much more that goes in this earphone's favour, and that's what I'm getting at. And I think the EchoBox is exactly what a $400 earphone should be doing. I don't think it's like, oh, it's a giant killer. The same could be go to be said if I compared to some Dunu models. You know, they're going to have positive traits on this, and I just don't think that should be happening. I think these higher end earphones should be wiping the floor with the smaller models, because it is a considerable price difference. And I think to a degree you can say that for things like the Campfire or Andromeda, the in-ear Profile 8. They really are separating themselves from the cheaper model. A very natural, almost neutral sound signature, but they're technically great in every department, and this just wasn't the case here. The sound's a little bit soft. There's a lack of decay, making the timbre sound a bit stunted in the treble. The mid-bass and sub-bass wasn't level. The sub-bass definitely lacked compared to the mid-bass, and the mid-bass was that softer, dozier sort of presentation. It wasn't hitting hard, it wasn't giving you that big thump. In the mid-range, you know, it had this meaty lower mids from the mid-bass peak that these do have, and then you really lost some momentum going down towards the upper mids. There wasn't that clarity, there wasn't that detail, that speed. You know, guitars, electric guitars in that lower mid-range sounded great. They were crunchy, they were really uplifting, and they sounded rock and roll. But once you got past that, it almost numbed itself as we got to the upper mid-range. The sound signature would be lower mid-range and mid-bass, and then a much more reserved upper mids and treble. It's a slightly more laid-back sound signature, not as much as with the W40, and it's not hugely unbalanced or coloured or anything like that. It just didn't blow my mind, and there was, you know, if you said to me, Sonny, what was the best thing about the W80? I'd be like, beyond the packaging and the size, nothing in the sound stands out for me. If you want a soft, easy to listen to sound, maybe, I don't know. I know they worked hard on the soundstage. That was something they really put some focus on in interviews. And yeah, it was as wide as the Nomad. Definitely didn't have the depth of Andromeda. Didn't have the instrument separation of either in-ears Profile or the Andromeda, because they're faster earphones with a lot more space, a lot blacker backgrounds, and much better imaging. So you can see how my experience with the Westone 80 sort of decreased a little bit as we went through it, from the unboxing, which I loved, to the accessories, which I loved, to the ergonomics and the size of the earphone and the cable that I love. That's a wrap. I don't think there's a huge lot more to say about the Westone W80. I'm going to try and do this review of the products instead of an unboxing, instead of them whole episode things. I really want to see if we can support this channel, start driving it upwards again. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers, let's get to 500,000 views. If I really do see some activity going on the channel, I will try and make more frequent videos. I mean, I'd love to be able to get to a point where the channel's going well enough that I can start doing once a week videos.